Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, which is being held in conjunction with Webeye and Videofied. Before we start and hand over to speakers today, I just wanted to mention briefly that you can ask questions throughout this session using the questions box in the GoToWebinar control panel, which is on the right-hand side of your screen. Feel free to ask any questions throughout the session. We will either come to them during or at the end during the Q&A, where you've got a chance to ask anything you like. We are recording the session, so if you need to drop out early or if you want to share it with any colleagues afterwards, then don't worry, we'll have your backs. Other than that, feel free to just send us any emails afterwards, but I'm going to hand over now to Toby, who is going to start the webinar. So without further ado.
Thanks so much, Emily, and welcome again to everyone around the world. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Thanks so much for joining us for a pretty special Calipsa webinar today, where we're joined by two of our great partners. So that's Webeye and Videofied. And we're going to be talking about our integrated false alarm reduction solution, where we've worked together to bring sort of false alarm filtering to the masses across platforms and products that a lot of people might be using. And so to begin with, we're going to just take a look at who's joining with us today. So we're very lucky to have our two wonderful speakers with us from Webeye and Videofied. And so we have Mark joining us, and Mark is Director, Global Sales Director for Webeye. Mark, say hello to all the wonderful people.
Hello.
There you go, that's it. And we've got Andrew Hall as well, who's the UK and Ireland Manager for Videofied Presidio, who's going to be talking to us about the Videofied product and diving a little bit deeper into what they have to offer. And of course, you have myself, Toby Weatherall. I'm the Business Development Manager here at Calipsa. And so
good morning, everyone.
Thanks, Andrew. So we're just going to take a look at the agenda, what we're going to be talking about today, and just have a look at the running orders. So first of all, the reason we're all tuned in is, of course, to talk about false alarms. So the challenge that exists, the problem in the industry, and essentially why we do what we do to tackle this big issue. We'll talk about how we've built our integrations together and why we kind of went into business in a partnership together and why that was important. We're then going to have a little bit of a closer look at Videofied itself, and then the Webeye platform, and of course Calipsa. And we're going to talk about how our integration works, so how exactly we fit together and how that looks. And we're going to go into how that's beneficial for yourselves and for your operation, and the key facts around sort of our delivery and what we are bringing to your operation. And we're going to have a live demo as well. So we're not just going to be talking all the way through. Mark's very kindly going to show us a live demo of him adding Calipsa filtering to a Videofied device through the Webeye platform. So we're really down the rabbit hole with multiple platforms and products working together to deliver our false alarm filtering. We're going to have a panel discussion where Mark, myself, and Andrew are just going to discuss why we've gone into partnership, how that's beneficial for ourselves, for the industry, and just have a wider discussion around that. And finally, obviously, we want to hear from all the lovely people tuned in, and any questions you might have, we will address at the end of the webinar. So let's first of all look at this incredible understatement, but false alarms are a burden in the video monitoring industry. I think I'm preaching to the converted here when I say that one issue that permeates all the way through the ecosystem of the security industry is this burden of false alarms. As you'll know, it's a problem for installers, it's a problem for monitoring stations, and the end result is a problem for the customer as well. So 95% of these alarms that are coming into the monitoring station, they are going to be unwanted and nuisance alarms that contain nothing actionable or usable at all. So this is a problem that's plaguing the security industry. And so we are working here at Calipsa to bring a solution to this. And that's also where our partnership comes in with Videofied and Webeye, because we're all working together to relieve this stress all the way through the ecosystem of the security industry. So we looked in the security industry landscape. Calipsa, we started by building a platform for false alarm filtering, and then we started to look where partnerships would be most relevant and most useful to kind of spread our offering a little bit wider, get it onto different platforms for different products so that everyone can use it and not just a select few. So that's where the wonderful webeyeCMS platforms come into play for their alarm monitoring. We've worked in conjunction with them, and then obviously the Videofied products as well, where we can kind of work in harmony to improve the offering and just get a great result for all. So I'm biased, so we're going to start with Calipsa. We're going to take a look at our product and just have a quick look at how it all works. So here at Calipsa, over the past 4 years, we've built a false alarm filtering platform. It's deep learning, and we've been working on it continuously. And it's 100% cloud-based, so it's been really important to us that we are 100% software. It means you can upscale and downscale on demand with complete ease. There's not a lot of effort that goes into it, and you can use all your existing hardware. So it's been really important to us that you've spent a lot of money on all of your hardware that you've already got on site, and so we just want to come alongside and work in conjunction to just leverage that existing infrastructure that you already have. So no going back to site, no new little bits of hardware to put on the existing cameras. It's just much quicker, and it's all in the cloud. And that leads to how quick the setup can be. So from anywhere in the world, you can configure an MVR in 30 seconds. I've done it in 10, bit of a record for me, but it really is super quick. And that's kind of our aim. You know, it's a plug and play situation for us. And just to look at the kind of general architecture of how we do our 90% reduction. So we are receiving alarms from the cameras that are triggering on site, and then our algorithms are processing the alarms we receive to filter out false alarms that don't contain any human activity. So these are all the nuisance alarms we know about caused by, you know, spider webs, leaves, tarpaulin flapping on a construction site. It's one of my favorites. We're filtering out all those nuisance alarms, and then we're only sending on true alarms that contain human activity to the third symbol we can see here, to the monitoring station to be reviewed by an operator. So we're just sending on actionable alarms which are useful and the operator actually wants to look at and needs human verification. So let's take a look at our true and false alarm. So the deep learning algorithm is receiving the alarm, and it's determining whether there's human activity. So on the left here, we can see a construction site, and we've got a person walking through, and we're putting a green bounding box around them. This is human activity. It's a true alarm that we're flagging. And what we can also see that's interesting here is on the left, we've got masking. So you can actually mask on our platform. And what that does is tell our algorithms this is an area of disinterest where any alarm, any movement behind the mask is to be flagged as a false alarm. So just got a true alarm being flagged here of the human. And then on the right here, we have an example of a false alarm. So lots of shadows moving around. It's a constant favorite of false alarms. And we are saying, no, that's a nuisance alarm, and we're flagging it as such. So when you log into the Calipsa platform, the first thing you're going to see is the Calipsa dashboard. So here we can see a lovely big blue wave, which is the total amount of alarms. And then within it, we can see a red wave, which is the false alarms that we're filtering out. And you can get insights, so the number of filtered alarms in 24 hours, your percentage, so how we're doing, and then an overview of all your client sites and cameras. So without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Andrew to talk to us about a little bit more about Videofied.
Thanks, Toby. And I'd just like to echo your comments of, thanking everybody for turning up. I know that some people are getting up very early in the morning to watch us chatter on about security. So I really appreciate everybody's presence here. Just like to sort of crack onto the first slide. And one thing I wanted to do was really sort of just give an overview of what Videofied is, where it sits in the market, and how it's a little different to the integrations that Calipsa have done previously, because it's not actually a CCTV platform. Now, what I've got here is just a product positioning thing, just to show you where it sits in the market space for Resideo as an organization, where Videofied sits as the product. Obviously, you can see we've got self-install, self-monitored, so that'd be sort of our sort of Sucre boxes, and then the pro-install and self-monitored, which is Total Connect, and then Videofied sits in the pro-install CMS space. Now, that's something that you'll hear us talk quite a lot about, because the CMS space and the pro-install space are they're an area of the market which needs which need a number of stakeholders to work quite closely together. So just as I said, sort of onto the next slide, I wanted to sort of really differentiate what our product is and how it works. So I always say, you know, it's one of the first things I say is that it's not a CCTV monitoring system. It's a wireless intruder alarm system with video verification. Now you can see the name Videofied, and you can see, Videofied, and you can see Video plus Verified, and that's where we are. And we've obviously got the people there in the ARC. That's when I talk about that's what I mean about the stakeholders being really, really important for Videofied as a product piece to exist and to work well for end users, installers, and monitoring stations as well. I've got a couple of bullet points that I wanted to run through on the next slide just to really give a picture of this. So the first thing I always, I think it's important to note here is that it is an event-based alarm system. So that is somebody walking in front of it, the PIR going off, and then a 10-second video being taken of what's going on in front of it. Now, that is then obviously fired back to one of our panels, which you can see located in the bottom of the corner of the screen, and then that is then sent via GPRS, soon to be 4G, over to the monitoring station, who then look at that image. Now, one of the great things about video verification is, yes, it reduces false alarms because you can actually see what's going on there. However, as Toby said, you're still going to get things that are causing an activation where alarm operators are going to be, to all intents and purposes, wasting their time cancelling a false alarm, whether it be, as Toby said, a tarpaulin that's that's waving about in front of the detector, a tree branch, an overgrown tree branch. All these things take time in the process to get through, and it means that, big picture, the alarm operators are having more things to do. So that's why we felt that it was an absolute no-brainer to go down the route of doing this integration with Calipsa, because we believe that it'll add further value to what we already see as a very valuable product that's fast to deploy, battery powered, and completely wireless. Just going on to the next slide, I think it's important to note that these are the distributors we have across the UK, and then these are also the other software partners. Now, when we're talking about the software partners, I keep banging on about it. They're really, really important stakeholder in the ecosystem that is a professionally monitored security product. So for that, what I'll do is I'll hand you over to Mark from Webeye, so he can sort of talk about how valuable a CMS software platform is.
Thanks, Andrew. Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry for phone ringing. It's one of those days, obviously, and I'm in the office for a change. So what I wanted to talk about really was the power of sort of Webeye, and obviously with what we've done with the integration with Calipsa, and why we sort of did this integration and linked it both with Videofied and obviously other products that we support. If you bring us on to the next slide, so brief overview. We are, I'm going to say, the world's most versatile cloud-based alarm platform. Big statement, but we've sort of looked at every avenue of the platform to decide what we want and what other operators want from the platform, and we've and we speak with everybody to get their thoughts. We're not just a software platform that thinks that we've got a good idea and rolls it out. The important people are the operators sitting in their seats and monitoring such alarms as the false alarms that we get. So we're a global operation. The company in Webeye guys has been going since 2011. We were originally set up as VDT UK, which was set up by Clive and Mike back in 2000, I believe. So we were one of the first distributors of Videofied. We pride ourselves in the support that we offer both here and in the US. It goes without saying that what we offer against others in the support, but along with the platform, it goes to it speaks volumes. So the platform itself was designed to self-monitor or designed to have as a monitoring station solution. Now, we launched back in 2011. It's taken on different guises. We're now up to version 3.3, and we're already working on 3.4 as we speak. We have a dedicated IT and support teams, both here and in the US, and they operate from 8 o'clock UK till 22:30 UK. So a long old day for the lads. But the software was built here and is still developed in the UK. And one of the examples, or one of the partners that we've got there, is South Africa. Now, we recently took on, after some contact with the guys over there, went through the platform. They seem to grasp it quite quickly, and already within a short period of time now, they have over 400 connections, which speaks volume for the power of Webeye and what it offers for them, being so remote in their locations. So that's just sort of where we are with you know, obviously in Germany and New Zealand, but as you can see, we're worldwide, and it's good to see. Next slide, I think, Emily. So the process that most commonly everybody knows is that we have a Videofied video, as Andrew's mentioned. It's a 10-second video alarm. So the alarm is transmitted to the control panel, and then through a SIM card or GSM, the 10-second video is sent through to Webeye. So when Webeye receives it, it now releases one of our alarms to Calipsa to analyze. And then once it's been analysed and verified by Calipsa, every single stakeholder is alerted to the alarm if they fall within that estate. So we should see now we've got a TIG, which we indicate on the platform itself with. If we don't have it verified by Calipsa, you'll get a cross and an unvalidated notification through. Next slide, Emily. So this is an alarm the alarm itself being presented within Webeye, and as I said, I'm going to, for my sins, do a bit of a live demo. But as you can see on the top bar, we can see a big blue bar, big blue line. This has been validated now by Calipsa. So they've received the 10 seconds, or we've received 10 seconds. We've then passed that through to Calipsa, and Calipsa takes 6 frames out of that 10-second clip to analyze. As you can see, we've analyzed this now, and we can see the guy coming over the fence, and it's been verified with the TIG. So one of the important things that I should mention here is, no matter whether Calipsa is there or not, we make sure that the operator sees both alarms. So this is why you've got 2 events there indicated on in this particular alarm. So the verified is blue, and then the actual alarm is our alarm, whether that's a Videofied hit vision or a DAWA an event. So yeah, so next slide please, Emily, or is this the live demo? Right, okay. I hope everybody's sitting comfortably. Do I get, yeah, okay, so if I just close this down. Just going to, can you see the slide, or
yeah, that's
anybody?
good.
Okay, what can you see on the screen?
We can see your presentation.
Right, okay. So have you got the actual site, Toby?
No, so we're still looking at the presentation, Mark.
Right, okay. Just bear with me 2 seconds.
No problem.
Okay. Do you have the screen on now?
You've got it, Mark. All good.
Okay. Right. Modern technology and all that. So we should be used to this with all the webinars that we've been doing over the last seems like an eternity now. So so on here you should see my device that I have on site, and to enable Calipsa with any device, all I need to do is go down to my edit screen. This brings us up the device that we have. So it's our Boardroom 2, which is an RSI panel, the serial number, and so on and so on. We're going to generate alarms, but down here we can see that enable video analysts. Can't even say it. So we will have other options, but currently we only have the one. So it is just as quickly as that, which is a tick bar, and then the Calipsa is enabled. So so that's now saved, and this panel should be now sending Calipsa verified alarms to the panel itself. So I'm going to go to our main screen. So you can see here we have our alarm screen. So we've got a couple of events that have happened here. So we've got my CCTV. We've had an invalidated alarm there, so we can quickly see that don't need to sort of look at that event. We've got a deep in view, which is our CCTV here, and I can then look for that event. And within here, we should see that we've had a verified alarm by the Calipsa, being the blue bar, and as the T. We've also had some other alarms, but they've come in after this. Now, what this gives us now is the potential to say, yes, okay, we've seen a live event. Now this is a Hikvision. Okay, so we can see that the vehicle there has been verified, and as you can see, we are also presenting the analytics from the recorder, so we know at what point the line was broken. So I'll just close this alarm down, and what I wanted to do was just for Andrew is send over a Videofied alarm. So if you give me 2 secs. Okay, so I'm back. So shortly we should receive the, and there we go, a demo room RSI panel. So we can see here that we've had an intrusion. The current status is open, and we've had one video which has been sent, and there's currently nobody operating that. So as we know, Videofied sends 10 seconds of the event to the panel, and what we will see here is the event start to upload, and then what we've changed recently, I'm waiting for the verified alarm to come through, but what we've changed recently is that most systems will wait for 20 seconds before they can display the actual event that's caused So we've actually changed it now, so it starts at 5%, and you should get a percentage of a percentage build-up of the actual event coming through. You can see here now we've just had the event verified by your good selves, and within the outline there we can see that we have me walking through the screen on a 10-second video, and as you can see across the bottom, we've only sent 6 of those 10 seconds through to Calipsa to analyze. Yeah, it worked well, didn't it? I'm not sure how else you want me to go through it, Toby, but I think that's proved as a live demo that we've received it, and obviously both on Videofied and Hikvision.
That was fantastic, Mark. Thank you. Live demo is never easy, but I think it's important to actually see it working, you know, live. So that was really great. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah, it's very nerve-wracking as well.
I bet. Well done. Well done. I think you're just going to tell us about your final slide here as well, Mark.
Okay, so I hope I've stopped sharing now, but yeah, so oh, I've lost my screen again. So yeah, so we've initially set up with Videofied. You know, Hikvision and Dower is the latest integration that we've done. Vigilon has been something that we've had, but we also take the Visonic and Oculi and obviously your good selves. This is changing all the times, but you know, these are the sort of main systems that we're finding that people are using.
Brilliant. Well, thanks again, Mark. Just a reminder to all attendees, please keep your questions coming in. We have got some questions, which is great, but don't be shy, and we'll pick them up at the end of the webinar. Just to lead on from having looked at all the products in detail, which was brilliant, I just want to talk a little bit about the benefits that you can expect when you are using this sort of false alarm filtering. So first of all, really obvious, but there's going to be no more missed incidents. So at the moment, we can think of operators getting false alarm fatigue. They just have a list of thousands of false alarms, and even if they manage to get through those in record time, they're still going to be a day or two behind the actual incident that's happened. So what this false alarm filtering is allowing operators to do is to be more efficient and to really get on top of those alarms and action, you know, true events that could actually be a crime in process. And it also means just for installers, there's going to be no more sort of false alarm caps, you know, no more sites being switched off, which is not great for a customer or an installer. And it's just going to stop all those awkward conversations between, you know, monitoring station and installer and customer. You know, whose job is it to cut down that? That's not going to be a problem anymore. So just getting rid of those sticking points, really. And we've talked about the operators. You know, essentially they are the people who are going to benefit the most from this sort of technology. They're going to be enjoying their job a lot more if they're not being thrown false alarms all day, every day. I think you're going to get a lot more job satisfaction looking at relevant alarms where you could actually be making a difference rather than slogging your way through an incredible amount of nuisance alarms. So employee satisfaction, there's quite a large bit of churn in this industry for operators. So we're trying to help keep people in the job and, you know, not have regular turnover where you keep losing staff. And finally, overall, your monitoring operation is just going to be more efficient. So you are dealing with actionable alarms. You're no longer being, you know, completely slowed down by a massive false alarms. And what that means is that you're becoming, you know, better operation. You can scale up without having to hire a new operator. Say every time you win a new site, you might think, well, now I need another operator to take care of the sort of 10,000 alarms that might come from that site. So we're taking that problem away so that you can go after new business, you can be aggressive in growing your CCTV monitoring operation without the worry that actually you're going to find yourself in real trouble down the line because of the amount of alarms you're getting from these new sites. So just to look at a couple of key facts that we've picked up on earlier in the webinar, but we have an industry-leading reduction rate for Videofied specifically, where it's at 75% at the moment, which we're really happy with, but we're always, increasing that. So we've actually come on leaps and bounds in terms of our reduction rate, and we can expect that to increase, in a matter of months for the rest of the year. It's not a far off thing, but right now we're at 75%, which I think a lot of people would be very happy with. And just to really emphasize that it is a sort of one-click integration. So you hear that a lot, but we have just had Mark show us on a live demo that he went and selected Calipsa as an analytics dropdown on the platform, and that was it. Then we were getting verified alarms in from the devices that he'd added. So it really is that quick, and single click, maybe two, but it's pretty good. And just to highlight a company who have made really great use of Calipsa through Webeye, Fenix Monitoring, they've seen a 77% reduction in their control room, and they have really been using Calipsa a lot across a lot of their estate, and they're using it to great effect. So I think they're very happy with it, and they're using the one-click integration there, and all told, they've said that it's incredibly improved their monitoring efficiency and their operator schedules and workload since they actually deployed Calipsa on Webeye. So I wanted to talk with Mark and Andrew a little bit, not just have us barreling through slides and the live demo or the great, but I would like to just speak to Mark and Andrew a little bit about our partnerships and sort of explore a little bit further how we work together and why that's important to us. So Mark, I wanted to speak to you first, but before we do that, Emily telling me very quickly we want to get our cameras on. I think we've got to show our face, I'm afraid, Andrew, Mark. I think it's time for us to come out of our lockdown hibernation. No one's seen me for months now, but I'm going to get that camera on. Try to keep it off calls with clients and things as well. Great. Okay, I think you should be seeing us now. So hello, everyone again.
Hello, everyone. Apologies for the lockdown haircut.
Andrew is rather special. I want to start with you, Mark, if that's all right. And just, I wanted to ask you sort of why it was important to Webeye to provide a false alarm solution to your customers, and what sort of attracted you to the Calipsa solution?
Yeah, I suppose it's like everybody, the amount of alarms that are being generated by CCTV, and whether that's Videofied or traditional CCTV, meant that we needed to really sort of start to filter those so that we gave the operator half a chance to pick out the needle in a haystack. So really, it was an obvious choice with what Calipsa offered, and being, I'm going to say it was an easy integration, but I'm sure the dev team will say it was a lot harder than what it looked. But it meant something that we could offer all of our clients very quickly, and it worked very well. So yeah.
Absolutely, I think that the dev team would have something to say about it. All seemed pretty smooth on to us. I'm sure they put a lot of time into it, but definitely. And Andrew, I just wanted to speak to you and to say, what does 75% false alarm reduction mean for Videofied, and how do you think that that's going to make a difference to customers? What do you think about that?
Well, it was always really interesting to me because we started having the conversation at quite an opportune time when we first started actually talking about how we were going to do this. I think it was like towards the end of the summer of 2018, and we obviously had a really hot, baked out summer. Great for the golfers because the courses were all baked out and they were running really fast, so fun for them. But not great for people working in monitoring stations where they've been getting everything's been getting really bright, which is affecting the sensitivity. So we're getting lots of false alarms because in some cases the cameras had been configured in a position which just wasn't suitable. So the reduction, it means that we were having some conversations with some monitoring stations where they were getting to the end of their tether with the amount of false activations they were getting. And obviously that's an immense amount of workload on them. And it also means that, you know, they're not working as efficiently as they once were doing. And I think to be able to have that, it means the product's more efficient. It means that the alarm operators are more efficient. And it means as a business, they can be more cost effective. And I don't know about you, but my view on this is always, when we're talking to monitoring stations, we're talking to installers, it's a case of being in a position to be able to look after as many sites as you can with theoretically as little people as possible. And that's what I think the Calipsa, the addition of the Calipsa integration really adds to what we to Videofied as an offering to end users.
Yeah, and I think you've touched on something there really important for monitoring operations, which is that their current sort of staffing of operators, really important to them that they retain those staff members, but it means they're not beholden to having to hire someone new every time they want to bring in a site to monitor, which seems to always be quite a big blocker for monitoring stations. So,
well, it must be a huge decision to make if you're looking at winning a project and you're weighing it up on, I need to employ another person to make this project work, and the cost of this project is not balancing out with hiring of this new member of staff. Now, we all know looking down the road that you'd want to get to a certain point, but at the same time, you know, you can't just do business off the basis of, well, it's another customer. You've got to look at what the cost is to the business as well. And I think what this does is reduces it without a doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a conversation that comes up time and time again. In that, you know, to take on new business, they have to make a massive consideration. It has to be really worth their while. So anything we kind of do to you know, add to the positives is definitely going to help. Definitely. So I wanted to speak to you, Mark, about the relationship specifically between Videofied and Calipsa on the Webeye platform. And who do you think sort of benefits from that relationship, and what do you think are the kind of key benefits of having Videofied integrated with Calipsa filtering through Webeye?
I suppose the obvious thing is, yes, you know, just being able to reduce those alarms, getting through to the most important alarms, getting through to the right people. You know, the monitoring stations, guarding companies, or even people that are self-monitoring, that ability to, as you saw there, switch on, switch off with the Calipsa. You may have a site where it may be high risk for a certain period of time. We've all had a lot of void properties just lately that have you know, have been empty now for weeks and weeks. But generally, it would just be a normal standard alarm that would come through. Having Calipsa now to verify it means the operator can concentrate very instantly now on that alarm, knowing that it's been verified. So I think that, you know, as Andrew pushed on, you know, the amount of time that's spent with alarms, false alarms, it's got to be the best way to sort of start to reduce those alarms now.
Yeah, absolutely. That kind of leads into my next question, which is around sort of the impact that you think this integrated technology has, like our three products, for the security industry as a whole. So both of you guys, sort of, what do you think? So we talked about new business and operator wellbeing. How else do you think that our kind of three products offering this filtering can be beneficial to those in attendance and those who are looking to use it?
I'll let you go first, Mark, if you want.
Thanks, mate. I thought that was yeah, I think sorry, mate, I was slightly distracted there, so do you want to go, Andrew?
You'll have to stay with us. Maybe to Andrew for now, and I'll let you think of. No, I mean, look, I think that the more we go on, the more people want, and the more people realise that they need to fundamentally operate a platform in a certain way. So if we're talking here about, you know, things like we talk about operator fatigue, and we talk about things like, you know, businesses wanting to run a more lean operation, these kind of integrations are needed so that we can work more intelligently. And I think that something like this, where we've got, you've got something that reduces false alarms. You've then got the CMS platform. It's important that we're all talking and we're all in the line and in the chain. And I think that means that, it's only a benefit. It's only something that's going to affect the industry positively. And I think that it's almost that case of, you've got a checklist and you're working down the checklist of things that you can feasibly do and you actually need right now. And as you work further and further down the list, you're going to identify more of these things. And it's a case of sometimes, a software provider like Webeye, who look at what they've got and think, well, how can we add more functionality to what we're doing? From my perspective as a hardware manufacturer, we want to utilize all those kind of relationships with people such as yourself and such as Webeye, so that we have a more robust offering to the market. And that's sort of how I see that, it positively affects the industry as a whole.
Yeah, and I think actually that's a really nice thing you've touched on in terms of working together. So really, we don't kind of see competitors. We see a chance to form a partnership, and we're kind of all rallying around this cause of, like you said, you've got your checklist of what's preventing me from having the most efficient monitoring operation possible. What are my biggest issues? Usually at the top of the list is false alarm. So we're tackling that first, and then we're able to add more to our offerings, to our platforms and products to kind of get rid of that checklist, so that you're free and clear to really aggressively improve your monitoring operation, keep getting new business, and no longer have a kind of cloud over you. So I think that's what sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, the other thing that I think that's really important to note, particularly with what we're all dealing with at the moment, is that what the Webeye piece does as a cloud-based offering is actually enables alarm operators to work from home. Now, as a nice to have, and maybe having that thing of, well, actually, do we need to have somebody based in the ARC all the time? Well, yes, ideally you'd like that, but at the same time, with what's going on at the moment, if you want to protect your staff, you've got a platform here that enables businesses to actually, from a sort of peace of mind and a moral standpoint, be like, we're not putting you in danger because you're not having to leave your house.
Yeah, definitely. And I think whilst we hope that it doesn't continue to be a problem forever, it has just highlighted the kind of cloud-based solutions where you are able to kind of plug and play and use it without being bogged down in an office or in a specific location. So definitely agree with that. And it's been interesting to see how the current situation has highlighted kind of negatives and positives in many ways. Yeah, absolutely agree. And Andrew, for you, we've actually been having some really interesting discussions. But what are your sort of ambitions for the future of the partnerships, and kind of where do you see this going for the three of us?
I mean, from my perspective, what both of your organisations do for us as hardware manufacturing, I've sort of alluded to it before, is you make it a more robust offering. Now, if we can put as many eyeballs as possible on what as a trio that the businesses have achieved and sort of integrating this all together, then the goals would be to sort of grow Videofied as an offering, grow Calipsa as an offering, introduce you to more people within our organisation so they can see what you've done and what you've achieved, and to do the same, across the board. That's how I see it going. As both the platforms and the products evolve over time, that's the kind of thing that the business you want to hitch your wagon onto the back of. So that's probably what I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can say for us, we're just really excited for the possibilities with Videofied and Webeye. Our kind of discussions of late that I've been personally a part of. I'm really excited for what's to come and what we've already done. But the great thing is we can just keep adding, and we've got such great teams around us that we're going to keep thinking of new ways to kind of help the security industry, which is brilliant. So I'd like to move on to the Q&A, because I think we've got a lot of attendees who are desperate to get some questions.
Straining at the least.
Training training and they just cannot contain themselves. So I have got one here from Alan, who I know well. So he's asking, is the Calipsa Videofied false alarm reduction going to work via IMIX? Actually, it will be working very soon. So it's the last part of the puzzle. And I believe it'll be in a couple of weeks. So I'll be following up separately. But thank you for that question. We also have a question here for Mark specifically, who has asked, when will the option to remove the filter alarms be available in Webeye, so the operator is not handling these events? Mark?
So yeah, we set it up this way very specifically to make sure that the alarms are going through to the operator wherever happens. We're aware that once the operator has learned the site, that the option to turn it off and turn it on again will be needed. So this will be out in version 3.4, which is sort of imminent. We've only just released 3.3, but it'll probably be in the next couple of months.
Great, thank you, Mark. I'm sure we'll have plenty of updates from yourselves before that comes. So I'm sure we'll all be alerted to it. And another question I have is when, if at all, can these verified video alarm activations be passed to police requesting a response? So that's something that's perhaps dealt with before, Mark, on the Webeye platform with your customers.
I mean, you know, if we look at the standards, it's a visual verification. So as it was explained to me many years ago, that it's just the same as you looking out of a window and seeing that somebody breaking into your house. So there'll be lots of people challenge that, but if we can verify that somebody's on site, there's movement, and we've had it verified with Calipsa, then that should be half the battle to sort of pass that out to the police. But yeah, I'm fully aware of where it sits at the moment, but and how the police are reacting to it.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So another question we've got, what's the latency for alarms coming from Webeye to Calipsa and back into Webeye? So it's very quick processing. We process alarms at about between sort of 1 to 3 seconds before it comes back in. So very little latency, if any, really, it won't be noticed. Then I've also got a question asking us sort of the rate of false positives, how many kind of actual burglings are missed because only a partial body's triggered, and also just a question about alarms coming in from the motion viewers. So to speak for Calipsa's algorithms, we always trade off between accuracy and reduction. So our accuracy is at 99.95%, pretty much as high as we can get. We're always just to make sure that we are missing as fewer false positives as possible. Of course, there are going to be some, but what we say is that we might classify a frame of an alarm mistakenly, but for the other frames in that alarm, we're going to get them correct. So we'll never misclassify an event, but we might misclassify one frame. But we're processing somewhere between 3.5 million alarms per day, and we've not had a claim yet in the 4 years that we've been running. So we're really confident on that. And also a question, perhaps Mark, you'll know a little bit better using Webeye. Are all subsequent videos from a Videofied alert received and analysed, even if the first is ruled negative?
So what we give the operator the ability to challenge. So we may have had a unverified alarm, as you saw from the image that we had on the screen of the 10 seconds. Once it's been verified or unverified, if we don't agree with what you've actually sent back to us, we can challenge you again. So what we try and do is we only want to send you the minimal amount of alarms coming through, and obviously cut down the time period that it's going to get analysed. So if you decide to challenge the your decision or Calipsa's decision, then it will go back out and take the next event and analyze that.
Right, perfect. Thank you, Mark. Another question we have. Hi guys, does it have to be deep in mind cameras and DVR MVR to work best? Is the system less accurate on older CCTV equipment? So for Calipsa, any kind of frames that we're getting from any type of equipment, the algorithms are going to work the same. So it doesn't have to be deep in mind. Where something like deep in mind or better analytics at the source is useful is that's in the first place going to probably filter out more false alarms before even sending from site. But our systems are all working just as well with older tech and older CCTV equipment.
Yeah, and obviously from Webeye, we take DVRs and NVRs, and obviously with a Videofied, so it doesn't matter what the technology is that's sending it. It's just that we're receiving the video.
That's it. Yeah, as long as we're getting the video or the images through, that's the important part. Another question was, when or is Videofied available in 4G? So Videofied, I believe, is able to send via 4G right now. Correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew.
Well, the current panels we have are GPRS. Obviously, with the sunsets that are coming, particularly in America and places like Australia, we are aware that there's a pressure to get for a 4G panel. We've already launched the 4G panel into America, which you can buy through Webeye, who we have a relationship in the US with. So yeah, so that's already there for the United States, and the plans are to sort of work, pardon the pun, follow the sun on the areas that need it most. So the intention is that there will be a 4G panel for EMEA. There will be a 4G panel for Australia as well. So, but the United States panel is already being shipped and sold in the US, as Mark well knows.
Right. So yeah. It's in the US, but will be rolled out to the rest of the world
yeah,
soon.
So in relation to the sunsets at the moment, I know the United States, it's something like the end of 2021. I know that. And I know that obviously the way that that's going to work is they're getting rid of 2G, whereas we're getting rid of 3G in EMEA. So the intention, and I know that switch off is spoken about to be 2023, but we don't know that for sure yet. I think particularly with everything that's going on at the moment, that will likely end up being delayed. But the intention from us as a manufacturer is to make sure that everybody's got the right kit so that it's working and that they can be sending signals that will be, hopefully be using Calipsa. And then being received by the alarm operators. So yeah, but it is in the works, like I said, for the rest of the world, but for the US, it's already shipping.
Yeah, we've been distributing the product now since I'm going to say, was it sort of November, December time last year? So I think we were one of the I'm going to say we were one of the first, but Jason's been out there quite busy promoting it now, and I think we're going to start to see a major uptake based on the timelines that people have got for the switch off.
Fantastic. Okay, thanks guys. Another one for you, Andrew. Will you be able to upgrade existing Videofied panels without upgrading the motion viewers?
Well, yeah. So the motion viewers, nothing changes. The signal, the frequency that's being communicated from the panel to the devices is not going to change. The only frequency that is changing is obviously the 4G frequency that's being signaled from the panel back to the ARCs. So peripherals don't change. It's just the panel that changes.
Got it. Okay, thank you. And Mark, can you monitor a handwire NVR on the Webeye platform currently?
So it's the $1 million question. We keep getting asked about different technology. We've got a couple of train spotters that are sitting in, as I keep referring to them, sitting in the pants now, going through different devices, different units to integrate. And I think the obvious thing is that if people talk to us and tell us what they want, we'll start to integrate it. We are looking currently at the UniView, and a couple of others, and Hanwha has been brought up as another one. So if you want to talk to me after the event or whatever, get in touch, and then we can discuss it in more detail.
So you're kind of doing it around demand, it sounds like, Mark. If there's a high demand for kind of integrations, then you'll definitely look into that sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we know that market's changing. You know, with everything has changed dramatically in the last couple of months in our own lives. But with technology, it's changing all the time. And what people's preferences are for products is something that's coming up. But yeah, we know that we've got the manufacturers in the US predominantly that are looking to integrate. So it's something that we are definitely looking at very, very closely. But yes, generally it's a demand rather than a sort of need currently.
Got it. Okay, thank you. We're going to finish with a final really interesting and important question, actually, which is what can we do to deal with the cause of false activations at source? At present, everything that is being done is reacting and dealing with the alarms being received. So we do hear this a lot. Of course, it's important to try and prevent false alarms from coming from site in the first place. So we give it a lot of thought as well, and we always advise to our customers that they try and cut down alarms in the first place, so they're not using up bandwidth coming from the site. So really, that's around placement of cameras, as I'm sure installers are aware, and then the MCR settings, so sensitivity, threshold, and also just environment as well. So if you are sticking a camera in front of a tree, it's going to wave. And it's going to cause thousands of false alarms throughout the year. So I think really conscientious kind of site installation is really important as well. And then we're here to kind of clean up any slip in the net.
I think I'd add on to that, Toby. But yeah, with Webeye, we give the operator or the monitoring station the function to receive the alarms, but we also give the installer to check their system and make sure it's working correctly, so they can monitor the amount of alarms and look at the history. So it's important that, yes, I draw a line. I always use the draw a line because everybody just draws a line and protects their £1 million house. But that a tree might grow, there may be foliage or whatever it might be that's causing that alarm event. But if you're not monitoring that correctly, have you really provided the correct solution to that person or to you or whatever it might be? So I think we have to, don't pass it to us and go, yeah, well, it's your problem now. Look back at the setup that you've provided and make sure you've done the best job to sort of secure that property.
Yeah, I'd echo those thoughts. I think that, and I said it before, it's all about the stakeholders needed to make these platforms and products work. It's you working in conjunction with Webeye. It's installers looking at the site and looking at the installation they've done, paying attention to where things are. And I think that it's a case of dotting the I's and crossing the T's on those kind of things, and then you guys pick up the slack on you guys picking up the slack on, how should you say, not as great a level, because the reliance isn't just being put straight on you. And that's something that we're very, very through our distributors, we work really hard to just say, like, look, make sure these are the kind of things that are going on, and then obviously in relation to how the monitoring stations use it as well. And in fairness, sometimes it's just a case of being quite thorough with it and giving customers that really good first experience with the platform and the product, and then once they see it, then they really see the value of it, because you don't get little things like this. And paying that attention at the start really, really sort of gives that extra value in the long run, because they want to do more of the product. They see how much recurring revenue it generates as a facet.
Definitely. And I think also just using the platforms as a source of data as well, where you can see how many alarms are coming from specific cameras, and then kind of doing a retrospective on your site that way. So sort of false alarm management is really key. I'm very conscious of time, lots of great questions, but we are going to wrap up now. So just a last slide explaining who to get in touch with. So please get in touch if you have any more questions. If you want to have a call with any of us, get into it a bit more deeply, then please contact us on the emails below on the slide that you can see there. Otherwise, I'd like to thank everyone in attendance. I'd really like to thank Andrew and Mark for tuning in, for telling us a bit more about their platforms and products, and being great sport. So thanks, guys, very much for being part of the webinar.
Thanks for having us, Toby.
Yeah, been a pleasure.
Pleasure, and well done, Mark, on the live demo. No easy feat, but you pulled it off.
Thanks, mate.
All right.
So thank you. Have a lovely rest of the day. Nice, lunch or dinner. And thanks again for attending.
Thanks, everybody.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Bye.